The world seemed poised for a radical overhaul. We heard the whispers, the Great Reset was coming. Billions spent, new deals struck, a vision for a restructured world. But the question hanging in the air, unspoken, did it happen? And if so, was it a dramatic, world-changing event? Or something far more subtle, something that slipped past us while we were focused on the immediate crisis? How could the blueprint for a radically different global economy be drawn up, implemented, and largely accepted without a visible revolution? For years, voices from think tanks, authors, and economists painted a picture of an impending collapse. They spoke of the 2008 crisis as just a dress rehearsal, a necessary correction to pave the way for a fundamentally different financial system. Think beyond growth, degrowth, the erg movement, ideas that challenged traditional capitalism but were presented as inevitable next steps. Analogy: imagine the world's financial system as a massive, complex machine. For decades, engineers, economists, policymakers have been quietly designing a new, more efficient, but also more centralized engine. It promised better resource allocation, less waste, and greater stability. But it required new parts, digital controls, revised rules, and acceptance of a different kind of power. The 2008 crisis was the first major test, proving the need for these changes, even if the existing system held for a while. So, what was the mechanism? It wasn't just ideology, it was about functionality. Think of it like this: the old system relied on friction, physical cash, checks, manual processes. The new system leverages the invisible hand of algorithms. Imagine global supply chains as a complex plumbing system. COVID exposed massive leaks and blockages. The response? Mandated lockdowns forced a pivot to localized, digital-controlled supply loops. This required new pipes, digital platforms, logistics algorithms, and new valves, centralized tracking, digital IDs. It was less efficient for some, but crucial for control and resilience according to the new design. Consider finance as a vast, dark ocean. For years, technology allowed glimpsing more of it. COVID introduced sonar pings, contact tracing apps, mandatory health passes, digital proof of vaccination or testing. This flood of data enabled unprecedented real-time monitoring and control. Suddenly, movements and economic participation became quantifiable digital streams, not just physical events. This data feeds into the central planning mechanisms. Money itself is transforming. Digital payment systems like WeChat Pay, Alipay, SEPA in Europe became the default during lockdowns. This isn't just convenience. It's about creating a digital bloodstream where central authorities can monitor and influence the flow of money more effectively than ever before. It bypasses the anonymity of physical cash. Key technologies enabled this shift: ubiquitous high-speed internet, powerful data analytics platforms, like those developed by big tech, and the acceptance of digital identity as necessary for safety. The tipping point arrived with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The initial shockwaves were undeniable. In mere weeks, global supply chains ground to a halt. Economies worldwide plummeted, testing the limits of conventional stimulus. The S&P 500 dropped over 30 in March 2020. Governments intervened massively, spending trillions unprecedentedly. Central banks slashed interest rates to near zero, flooding the market with liquidity. But the pace of recovery, once lockdowns eased, was remarkable. Why? Because the crisis simultaneously forced a massive global adoption of digital solutions. Contactless payments surged. Remote work became the norm. E-commerce exploded. Even physical currency saw a decline as hygiene concerns and digital tracking became more prominent. This period created a unique window of opportunity. Policymakers, facing existential pressure, pushed forward with plans previously debated or resisted. The Green New Deal framework gained traction not just for climate, but as part of the economic restructuring narrative. The language shifted from recovery to reset. Lockdowns and health protocols generated an unprecedented amount of real-time economic and social data. This data confirmed the feasibility and desirability of the new digital, monitored system to policymakers and technocrats. The consequences of this shift are being felt across society, often quietly, beneath the surface of daily life. It wasn't a violent uprising, but a gradual transformation. The system designed for efficiency demanded hyperproductivity. The Great Reset narrative often posited that traditional jobs would become obsolete due to automation and the new economic logic. The pandemic accelerated this by forcing mass adoption of remote work and digital platforms, creating a workforce potentially excess for the envisioned new economy. This excess fuels the need for redistribution and social credit systems. The massive, sustained stimulus from central banks buying bonds, quantitative easing, created vast pools of low-cost money. This fueled asset bubbles, crypto, stocks, and eventually contributed to broad-based inflation, which some argue is a deliberate test of the new monetary system's resilience. Global debt has reached staggering levels, a feature, not a bug, in this new financial architecture. The infrastructure for digital currency, particularly central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, has been rapidly developed. Countries like China are already rolling out mandatory digital ID systems linked to social credit. The goal isn't just payment. It's control, tracking spending, movement, and compliance. This reduces friction but increases surveillance. Concepts like universal basic income, UBI, are gaining serious policy discussion, not just as a social program, but as a potential tool within the new economic framework. Carbon taxes, digital levies, and other forms of degrowth are being implemented or debated, framed as necessary for sustainability and equity under the reset paradigm. Cash, once a symbol of privacy, is increasingly seen as a facilitator of crime or inefficiency. Restrictions on cash transactions or demonetization efforts signal a fundamental shift towards a fully tracked economy. The Great Reset wasn't a future event. It was a process, and COVID-19 was the catalyst that accelerated it dramatically. The transformation was less a revolution and more like a quiet software update, seamlessly integrated into the existing operating system of the global economy. The old certainties, physical cash, anonymous transactions, traditional employment, national borders as economic barriers, are eroding quietly, perhaps unnoticed by many. The lesson: the world is undergoing a fundamental reconfiguration. It wasn't chaos. It was a recalibration. The question isn't if the reset is happening, but how deeply it has already penetrated our lives, and what choices we have within this new reality. It was always going to be a reset. The pandemic just fast-forwarded the script. So, did you feel the shift? Did you notice the world moving in a different direction, faster than expected? The evidence is there if you know where to look. What moments during the pandemic or since felt like part of this larger transformation? Let us know in the comments below. What aspects of the Great Reset do you find most unsettling or most hopeful? Share your thoughts. Stay informed. Explore these topics further. Thanks for watching.